The best business ultrabook around, the ThinkPad X1 Carbon is a new high watermark for productivity in a thin and light design. At just 0.74 inches thick and just 3 pounds, this 14-inch notebook is the productivity portable to get. So let's take a quick look at what we like about it. First of all, this is a ThinkPad. So it's got a ThinkPad quality keyboard, although this has really great tactile feedback, it's not quite as deep, not quite as much vertical travel as you'll get on something like the T430 because it's so thin. But otherwise, it is a wonderful keyboard, and it also has a really powerful backlight that has 3 settings, low, high, and overhead light, and of course off. The touchpad here is a first on a ThinkPad. It is a glass touchpad. It is extremely accurate and smooth, great with the multi-touch gestures, lots of gesture support, a really fantastic touchpad. Particularly for a ClickPad, we had no problems with inaccuracy or wrong, jumpiness, wrong right-clicking, any of that stuff. The screen here is a 14-inch 1600 by 900 screen, and it is extremely bright. At 290 lux, this is higher in brightness than the MacBook Air, and although it is not quite as bright as the Asus ZenBook Prime, which happens to have a slightly higher 1920 by 1080 resolution. But this is a screen with wonderful viewing angles. Pictures don't wash out even when you're at 90 degrees to the left or right, so it's wonderful for productivity. The other thing that we really love about this system, it's really quite fast. The minimum model has a Core i5 processor, although you can get it with a Core i7 processor. But the base model, which starts at $1249, has a Core i5 processor that runs at 1.7 gigahertz, 4 gigabytes of RAM, and 128 gigabyte SSD. The system is extremely fast to wake from sleep, and it boots into Windows 7 in just 30 seconds. Let's take a quick look around the system, which is really, really thin. So over here on the left side, you'll see that there is a Wi-Fi on-off switch. There is a USB 2 port that can charge your gadgets, and there is something that we don't really like a lot, which is the power connector here is proprietary. It's not like other Lenovo power connectors, so if you have an AC adapter from another ThinkPad, it won't work here. If you've got an external battery with a Lenovo adapter on it, it won't work here. On the back here, you'll see a SIM card slot. This is for a 3G radio that works on networks like T-Mobile that have HSPA. Just plain 3G, and you'll have to bring your own SIM card. On the right side over here, you'll see one USB 3 port, Kensington lock, mini display port out, headphone mic jack, and a card reader. Now, unfortunately, that means that one of the things we don't like is there's some really key ports missing from the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. It does not have VGA, which a lot of business users want. It does not have Ethernet, which a lot of business users need. It does come with a USB to Ethernet port adapter, but we would have really rather had this be a little bit thicker and have the ports that we need without having to carry an adapter. But the system is so light because it is made, a lot of it is made out of carbon, lightweight carbon. So not only is the lid made out of carbon, but the internal roll cage, which makes this a lot more durable when you might drop it, which you hope not to, is the reason why you can have a 14-inch notebook that's just 3 pounds like this. Another thing that we really like about it is that this fingerprint reader here is a powered on fingerprint reader, so if the notebook is powered off, you can configure this to stay on so that just with one swipe of a finger, you can boot the system and log into Windows at the same time. The thing though that we like the best about this notebook, despite its thinness, its speed, its quick booting, its good keyboard, its good webcam, its good touchpad, its powered on fingerprint reader, its high-res bright screen, we love the battery life. You would think that a notebook that is this thin and light would have crappy battery life, but amazingly you'd be wrong. On the laptop battery test, which involves continuous surfing over Wi-Fi, this managed 7 hours and 45 minutes. That is one of the longest lasting notebooks on the market. It is over an hour longer than the ZenBook Prime gets. That makes this really, really compelling. It also charges very quickly. In just about a half an hour, you get 75% charge, and in an hour and a half, you're completely 100% charged. So even when that 7 hours and 45 minutes runs out, if you have a little while to plug in, you're going to get a significant amount of juicing from that. So that's what's really impressive. The few things that we don't like about the system, we don't like the fact that there's no VGA port and no Ethernet port, that you would have to actually carry an Ethernet dongle to attach to one of the only 2 USB connectors. We would have preferred that this system be thicker and offer you more ports. Obviously this system is a bit expensive, starting at $1250, but considering how light it is and the kind of productivity you're going to get out of it, we think it's worth it. That's our review of the Lenovo ThinkPad X1. Truly the best business Ultrabook on the market, the best productivity-minded Ultrabook on the market, and quite frankly, overall, one of the best Ultrabooks you can possibly